Howdy, I'm Mark, and this is me making my PNGtuber from scratch using PNGtuber Plus and Infinite Painter. I should probably start out by saying that I am an artist and I have a degree in digital media, so I do know how to draw, and I have some experience in animation. However, I've never made a PNGtuber or touched Live 2D before. And this will probably become the first in a series of me throwing myself headfirst into some new art genre after watching one or two YouTube videos. All in all, making this character and animating them from start to finish took me around, I think it was about 3 days, which is a lot shorter than I was expecting, but I found a YouTuber by the name of Suru Draws who had some really good tutorials on how to make PNGtubers and how to use PNGtuber Plus. I will be leaving links in the descriptions for that. This video itself should not be taken as a tutorial, as I have no idea what I'm doing here, and most of this is trial and error. This avatar went through a lot of revisions while I was making it, and I actually have 2 versions saved. One from when I stopped recording the first time, which was my test model, to make sure I understood how Live 2D works, and the one you're seeing now, which I did a lot of updates to off-camera afterwards. This is probably one of the only times I show forethought, in that I start the clipping process before actually rendering the character, figuring out where certain parts of the head and body overlap. I'm drawing the hood, relabeling everything to make sure that my layers stay organized. At some point I'll probably add the bird you will keep hearing in the background to my avatar, just because there's no way to make him quieter, so I might as well roll with it. Alright, I'm figuring out how to make the arms work. Making sure that they overlap properly. Clipping can be kind of hard to grasp and understand at first, but I did get the hang of it pretty quickly when Suru explained it as just sort of imagining it as a paper puppet, which is something I've actually worked with before when making stop-motion animation videos. Here I am just blocking in base colors. The color blocking process ended up being very messy because I couldn't decide whether I wanted clean, cel-shaded colors or more softer penciled colors. I believe this is where I switched to my cleaner line art pen, because I decided I wanted harder edges. I did try shading the ears using a soft pencil, but couldn't get them to look the way I'd imagined, so eventually I just let it go. There I'm just using clipping masks to color the halo. I will probably go back in and change the halo up at some point to make it thicker, since it does blend into my forehead right now. Rendering the body actually ended up being very messy. This is one of the reasons that you see most PNGtuber artists actually draw the character out before working on clipping them, just to get an actual idea of how they look before separating them up. I did not do that. So while I may have had this avatar already drawn out in some other circumstances, because I decided I wanted to change things up and sort of refine them a bit, things got messy and I had to go repeat steps several times. I'm trying to clean up all those harsh edges. Now I'm messing around with figuring out how to divide the ears from the head so that they don't blend together. The eyes for this model also changed at least 5 times, while I was making it, because each time I would think they would look good, but then I would actually bring them into live 2D and decide they were lacking. In the end, I went back to my original eye design, which is just 2 dots inside of arches, because I really liked how simple but expressive they looked. Here's where I actually start shading things, and also going back over the rest of my pencil lines with a more solid brush, just to make them all look unified. I didn't actually add many highlights to this model, if any at all, so that definitely will be something I do if I revisit making this model in the future. There I am decorating the halo, adding stars, and making sure that they're split evenly between the layers to give them depth in front of and behind the model. So I mess with the eyes so much while working on this model. In the end, I ended up scrapping 2 different ideas completely after spending at least an hour on each. There I am shading in the arms to give them some depth and help them stand out from my body. Hey bud, what are you doing above me? You looking for me? You interested in my new setup? I'm down here. I spend a lot of time messing around with this glove and just trying to figure out how to differentiate the fingers from each other. And here I'm going to turn off all the layers and prepare them for export. I actually forgot to record the process of importing my model into PNGtuber Plus, but I did remember to start while I was working on animating all of the body parts. And then I start linking everything together. One piece of advice I can give that I learned is to make sure that you move the point of origin of every single piece of your model before you start linking. Because once you start trying to move points of origin after you've linked everything, things can get messy. There's where I realize that when you try to move the point of origin of an object that has things linked to it, all of those things will move. And I was too lazy to unlink everything in order to move the head's point of origin. So it stayed like that. Now I'm just adding animation to the arms and hands to make them bounce sort of independently from me. I forgot to record audio for this section, but I think everyone will be fine not having to listen to me make random noises and smack the mic for about 20 minutes. Now I'm just trying to decide what to do for the smoke on top of my head. I wanted it to sort of bounce like the ears and wave a bit. At some point I will probably make an animated sprite like I did for my mouth and eyes to give the smoke some waviness. Here I am just sort of dragging my character around to watch how all of the pieces drag behind it. Okay, here's where I remembered to record again after making a whole bunch of changes to the sprite. I found another tutorial by the same YouTuber that showed how to work with animated sprites, and so I added one for the mouth and eyes and my hand. Here I am putting the mouth in place. and messing with the values to make it look like I'm talking properly. And fixing up the costumes because I forgot to toggle an arm off. I had to remake the eye sprite a couple of times because each time I put it in, it always looked like my character was just reading. And here we are, my completed PNGtuber. All in all, I'm really happy with how this turned out, and I actually had a lot of fun while making it, so I definitely plan on making at least 1 or 2 more in the future. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do have any suggestions for things I could improve or add, or an idea for what I should do in my next video, please do comment it down below. I'm always open to advice and critiques. I do not have a proper outro yet, so I am going to just stick to the cliche. Like, comment, subscribe, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.